pretty good.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
Ms. Kennedy, pleasure to see you.
Mr. doing it.
Glad
I
to see
know,
you.
I'm coming back. I'm inching back.
I saw you.
But I don't want to wait outside, so.
Computer and TV.
So
and
you open the outside door at 7.
relax.
I'd like to call the City of Ferrisburg Council meeting to order tonight on Monday, November 5, 2018 at 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hop,
Here.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Here,
Councilmember DeWitt,
Here.
Councilmember Twa,
Present.
Councilmember O'Donnell,
Here.
Councilmember Carlson,
Here.
Councilmember Blees.
Here.
Okay. At this time, we'd like to have you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our invocation given by Councilmember Twa. So
Yeah,
Councilmember
backwards.
Twa first. Yes.
You're confusing.
Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help. As we are gathered together, we pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that you would challenge each other to reach higher and further to be the best that we can be. We ask this in the name of Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, item number 5 is public comment. At this time on the agenda is for any citizen to give direct, brief comment or question to City Council. Time for public comments will be given when an agenda item is discussed. If you have a comment or question, please raise your hand to be recognized by the mayor. After being recognized by the mayor, please stand, give your name and address for the record, and proceed with your comment or question. Please limit your comments or questions for 3 minutes. Any public comments? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Rich Houdeman. I'm with, in the Community Affairs Department with Consumers Energy. I just work up the street, and I just thought I'd stop by. I know a few of you a little bit. I know a couple of you, and but anyway, I just thought I'd just let you know that, you know, even though we don't have a lot of your city, we are here to support you any way we can. And I just want to formally introduce myself to the council, as I haven't yet, even though I know Craig very well. I used to be in municipal management, so I used to know Craig a lot over the years. So yeah, see Scott around quite a bit at different functions, so it's nice to be here. But and if I just try to, my approach is that I just try to act like I work for you. So different communities I have, we're very active in Northwest Ottawa with the various cities, the chamber. So if you ever need us for something, or you need help with something, you have a project going on, you may need a hand with, let us know, and we'll see how we can do it. And if you ever have any questions, you know, please just let Craig know, and you can reach out to me anytime you want to. So thanks for letting me say hi tonight.
Other public comments? Yes, sir.
My name's Spencer Swanson.
Can you wait till you get to the mic so we can pick it up on tape? That's okay.
My name is Spencer Swanson. I live in Ravenna, Michigan, 12900 Harrisburg Road. And I pretty much came up here just to kind of give a brief presentation of my EcoStrap project that I'm hoping to do for the Coast Guard City Park, which I talked to Tim, and pretty much what he wanted was to kind of build signs of the history as well as kind of the overall layout of the park. And I talked to different kind of companies, providing companies, Home Depots, Staples, stuff like that. And I found, lumber and whatnot, as well as kind of PVC printout sheets that I can be able to put on top of that so that, the elements won't be able to affect it too much, as well as, waterproof spray, stuff like that. And pretty much the overall total would be kind of like 440 around more of, but pretty much I just have to send this into the Eagle Scout Council after the proposal. I'm just running by you guys to see if anything else you guys might, I might get suggestions from or something like that. I am building 10 signs for around the park too. So.
Have you spoken with our Recreation Commission?
I have not, but I have given a number by Tim O'Donnell from that.
Okay. That would be a start for them to give some feedback. Councilmember Blees, would you agree with that, to have him?
Yep, that's a good idea. Our next meeting, I think, is going to be in January 9th on a Wednesday.
Set off to City Manager Buzzinger, and he would be able to assist you with that too.
All right.
Because we've had numerous scout projects in the past in the city. So,
All right.
thank
Good.
you. Anyone else have any questions for him? Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Any other additional public comments? Yes, sir.
Hello, Mayor, other council members. Thanks for having me tonight. My name is Jerry Sias, 325 Beach Street, Ferrysburg, Michigan. My name is Jerry Sias, and of course I am honored and thrilled to be your candidate for the Michigan House of Representatives. Throughout my campaign, I've spoken to other cities and townships, and I left the best for last, Ferrysburg. Ferrysburg is very special to me. I was raised here. I raised my children here. I love living in Ferrysburg. Because of all of its natural beauty, we are so fortunate to live here on the shores of Michigan, and we must preserve the shores for generations to come. Chemicals used by us all and untreated ballast waters are currently contaminating and killing our Great Lakes. Line 5 oil pipeline crosses the Mackinac Straits. These issues need attention now, not when we find more schools with PFAS in the water or we have an oil slick in our straits. Smith's Bridge is another factor in my run for State House. It's time the state takes a leading role in funding and assisting small cities or counties maintain their crucial infrastructure. I believe local politics affect our lives the most and more than the national politics. That's why it's crucial that our representatives in Lansing are working with and for the cities and towns within its districts, not special interest. And that's what I intend to do when I get to Lansing, and thank you for having me. Thanks.
Public comments? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move down to agenda item 6. Consideration approval of consent agenda. A, approve the October 15, 2018, and there is an amended council meeting minutes that were placed on our table. And B, adopt a resolution regarding the lease of portion of the premise of 17290 Roosevelt Road to Pioneer Resources.
Your Honor,
Yes.
could we separate B and have a discussion on that, a quick discussion?
Okay, so the consideration approval of consent agenda would only include 6A, approve the October 15, 2018 amended city council meeting minutes as printed.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. All those in favor stating aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passed. Moving down to 6B, adopt a resolution regarding the leasing a portion of the premises at 17290 Roosevelt Road to Pioneer Resources.
Your Honor,
So we do have a motion support before discussion, please?
I'll make a motion of support to approve this.
Second.
Craig, as I'm looking at this, item 3A, early termination of lease by the city, we have to give them, not less than 6 months written notice to the tenant. Is that standard with all our leases?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed. Moving down to new business. 7A, discussion and take action if appropriate to approve the traffic control order 2018-2, a pedestrian crosswalk to be established on North Shore Road between the entrance of Coast Guard Park and the entrance of Ottawa Sands. So moved.
Support.
Pardon me?
This was a motion that was tabled at one of our meetings. Do we have to?
To put it back, it's a new, to bring it back.
Support.
Support? Okay. Further discussion?
Yes.
Yes. This is just to bring it back to the table. Discuss it. It's a motion. So all those in favor say
Aye.
those opposed? Motion passed. Okay. Now that it's back on the agenda for today. Discussion, take action if appropriate to approve the traffic control order 2018-2, a pedestrian crosswalk to be established on North Shore Road between entrance of Coast Guard Park and the entrance of Ottawa Sands.
Now, so move it again.
Okay. Motion, is there support? Support? Okay, further discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Number one, traffic control order doesn't specify who's gonna pay for this thing. Is this, I'm thinking that the county has asked for this?
We have a couple representatives from the county here, County Park Department. It'd probably be a good time for them to make their presentation.
Let's do that now, gentlemen.
Hi, good evening. I'm John Schultz. I'm the Parks Director for Ottawa County. I just want to thank you, first of all, for your open-mindedness to this new park project in the city of Ferrisburg. It's been moving pretty fast. You know, just a year ago it was just an idea, and now here we are with the project. The public response has been pretty overwhelming. I guess that's why we're here tonight, to talk about this crosswalk, to try to make sure we have a safe situation. Kurt Tahar, our coordinator in Park Planning and Development, is going to kind of outline that for you. Before he does that, though, I just wanted to mention that you know, some of us on the Parks Department even lose sight of this, but we have half of a park right now. Just want to emphasize this. We have half of a park, half is owned by Ottawa County, half is owned by the Land Conservancy of West Michigan, and they're letting us lease that property from them. We have a grant request into the trust fund, and on early December we'll find out whether they're going to grant us the rest of the money to buy the half of it from the Land Conservancy. So there's no guarantees that'll happen. Just wanted to mention that to you folks. The Land Conservancy is fundraising for it, and we're going to try to reduce the $4 million grant request that we have into them. And hopefully we'll be able to throw a little more money at that. It'll reduce it and make it a little bit more palatable for the state to fund. So with that, Kurt, you want to outline our current thinking on a crosswalk? We've tried to be responsive. Kurt's relayed some of your concerns to us. So
Could you bring that to, yeah, that's much better, thank you.
Not for the audience, but
Can we put it on the overhead? Is it too big?
Yeah, because it's going to fit right over on the.
all right, well, we'll turn it around once you guys have had a chance to look at it. So, as John said, we've modified our approach a little bit. So this, you back a little bit further. So this plan shows North Shore Drive basically between the entrance to Coast Guard Park and North Shore Drive, or the entrance to Ottawa Sand along North Shore Drive. So this is the entrance there, and we added some gravel parking initially when we opened the park. This is the paved bike path that goes along North Shore Drive, and these dashed lines are the natural surface trails that just go through the park. So initially, when I think, we weren't here, but Craig, maybe you presented this, and maybe there's some other information, we proposed a crossing here. Right, that was where the trail comes closest to the road, and we're looking for a very quick, easiest way to do this to get people across, because we anticipated maybe it would be busy, but I think it's probably surpassed what we actually thought was going to happen, and so that made us relook at this
a little bit harder. And so what we're proposing at this point is that we have a crossing here, which is just west of the entrance there. And this works because it actually ties into the whole trail system better. If you look at the park master plan for North Ottawa Dunes, it actually has a paved trail going through here, and that would work great in the future if the paved trail came down here and then crossed into the park. We think that actually this entrance drive, when the park is fully developed, would probably change from this. It actually probably would go over here and enter right here. And so that we think would be a good spot for that too. It could stay there even with full development of the park at Ottawa Sands. The one issue we did have with this, we like this spot because we thought that would be a natural place for people to go. And in fact, if you go out there now, people who are crossing the road are crossing in places like this. So we would propose that we have some kind of wayfinding directional signage from the parking lot, directing people down the paved path over there. And then this one right here would say crosswalk ahead, so people would know they could get up here and cross at the actual crosswalk. I think most people should be happy with that location change. I know even the sheriff was out there when we looked at it originally and didn't like it down here as much, and this is a better location in terms of getting across right at the park entrance and not having to walk along the edge of the road. The one item that maybe we did want to discuss a little bit was what kind of marking should be at this crosswalk. There was some talk, I think, about a flasher or some other kind of lighted crosswalk. We have not done that previously. We've got, I think, 8 or 10 of these in different places. We've worked with the Road Commission on several of them. Their normal practice is to have a sign on each side near it and then have a warning sign ahead, 200 or 300 feet ahead, that says crosswalk ahead. So it would be 4 signs, 2 on each side would be the normal approach we would take. I mean, we're willing to do whatever you think is best, but that's kind of what we are thinking would be appropriate for this spot. We have it on fairly busy roads. At Rosie Mound, if you know that, there's a crossing that goes right across Lakeshore Drive at Rosie Mound. We've got them all on our Muscatawa Trail, which we manage, goes across a number of roads. 2 or 3 of them in the Holland area, again, on fairly busy roads, and it seems to work just fine. I guess we're not exactly sure how this is going to pan out, or is this a phenomenon where it's been like this, where we actually have 25 cars here and 25 cars here? We don't think so, but maybe it will be like that on nice weekends. It's a beautiful spot, and people are enjoying it. So that's the reason we think we want to continue to look at actually having a marked crosswalk that will make a safe place for people to get across.
If I could just add something too, we really appreciate your tolerance of our overflow situation and how it affects Coast Guard Park. I'm not sure quite how long this will last. Obviously, we're going to build parking in the park at some point and make improvements. But because this whole thing has happened so fast, it's we would our normal practice would be to go through a full-blown master planning and process, invite the public in to go help us with that. Obviously, first we have to acquire the whole property, and that can't really happen in best case scenario until probably fall of next year, late summer, fall. So it's going to be a few years, no question, before we would have any improvements there. So we do appreciate your tolerance of that. As Kurt said, we're not sure how long this is going to last. I mean, I think a lot of people just want to get a look at it and probably won't come back that much, but we're starting to think that it's going to be busier than we had initially thought. So with that, we're open to questions.
Present time, you guys are using our parking lot in Coast Guard Park for overflow. See, the way I look at this, I think I see people parking in the Coast Guard parking lot and using the trail system, and then crossing the street to the existing, what is the existing park there? The Ottawa Sands. So what I envision is people are going to park in our parking lot at Coast Guard, which you guys, we already have an agreement, and then they're going to walk them trails, and then as they come back around, cross the street. So I see your idea of signage on our bike path as a positive. I also think we need to have a sign where your proposed road crossing goes up to your park there, to the trails, the unimproved trails, a sign there directing them to the crosswalk.
Yeah, in fact, I guess I didn't mark that. Where I proposed signs would be one here at the parking lot saying straight ahead, one here saying turn right, one here saying crosswalk ahead, one here saying crosswalk left to get across.
And on the unimproved trail.
Oh, on the unimproved trail too?
Right there, we'll go up to the Y there, there, with the signage going to the
sure,
crosswalk.
Sure, something here to direct people down this way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Coming from both directions, because the way I see this is people are gonna walk the unimproved trails, come around the loop, and then want to go across the road.
Yep.
So we need to direct them there to our crosswalk as opposed to just willy-nilly crossing anywhere.
Right.
You know, so a couple extra signs from what you had said would probably be.
No, that's a good idea. In fact, we've had some anecdotal evidence of people hiking from like North Holiday Hills area all the way down around the lake and back. So, so yeah, we could definitely do that.
Okay. My big question, number one, I would like to see flashing lights there. The police chief, sheriff, Mr. Kick, will testify, you know, that people are speeding on that all the time. They're running that's a pretty fast stretch of road there. I know they police it all the time, write tons of tickets, but my concern is we're coming out of a curve to the west on North Shore Road. It's probably, what, a quarter mile, not even a quarter mile down the road.
People are coming down off the dune out of that curve at a pretty good clip.
And the other concern is you're coming up that hill before Coast Guard Park. Now, you guys did an excellent job of moving that proposed crosswalk down from the park entrance, because you come over atop that hill, going westbound, coming up the hill by Coast Guard Park. Your original proposal is right by the entrance of Coast Guard Park, and I think that's too close to that hill. So
yeah, we could look at that. The hill, the crest of the hill is somewhere in here, so that is quite a ways.
To your new proposal.
Right. I mean, the original proposal was more between the two park entrances. This is, yeah, all the way down.
Right. Right. So I see that as a vast improvement to the original proposal I saw. The other big question I got is who's going to bite the bullet for this?
We'll pay for it.
Okay. Do we need to? I feel strongly that we need a flashing light there, because at some point you guys are going to develop this. And my understanding was is a primitive campground at some point, or a campground at some point.
That was in our original plan, but again, we're going through a full master planning process.
Right, so that'd be down the road.
There. Yeah.
So my concern would be, we're going to have a entrance there with lots of traffic coming into the park, because I believe you're right that this is going to grow dramatically, the usage of this park once it gets developed. So if we put a flashing light there, like a yellow flashing light, like a stoplight type, you know, instead of on the side of the road, a flashing light there, you can kill two birds with one stone with a flashing light there for the pedestrian crosswalk, and it's right there at the entrance, so people know that there's going to be traffic in and out of there. That would be a real concern to me, because I've been on that road a lot, and you know, I've been traveling, speeding on it and getting passed all the time. You know, so.
So you're talking actually an overhead kind of flasher?
Yeah, like a flashing caution light.
Yeah.
Would be.
Not flashing lights on a sign.
I would be more comfortable with the flashing over it. Maybe Jason, you. Yeah. Just you know, we have concerns with the crosswalk, but we're also going to have concerns with the traffic going into the park at some point. So why it would make sense to me, like just a yellow caution light flashing overhead would kill both stones with, you know, both birds with one stone.
I guess we could look at that. We've never done that at any of our parks that are very, very busy places. I mean, we could look at it. That is quite a bit more expensive.
Yeah. Well, it's,
proposal than
a sign or anything of that nature would
Right.
be, you know, because, you know, I travel that road a lot, and I have real concerns, particularly when you get young families with kids pushing strollers and everything else, because you're going to probably, as I'm looking at this, you're going to have probably have to put a turn lane in there to go into the park, coming from the east, you know, kind of a turn or acceleration lane. Coming out
Yeah,
of the park.
when the whole thing is developed, yeah, and we would do a whole traffic study and look at all of those traffic control issues. I mean, I think that could be quite a ways off. That's the thing. We need
Right.
something that works for us now, and that's appropriate for how much use we're getting.
In the meantime, would you be amiable to solar-powered pedestrian lights like what we have on Dogwood
Hey, I'm a man.
that cross the bike path?
I can do anything. I'm just throwing ideas out there. You know, my concern is the safety of the children.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly, we're gonna have a lot of unaccompanied children from Holiday Hills there. You know, 7, 8, 10-year-olds that are gonna be crossing that street going to the new park. Okay. You know, that's my concern, a safety concern. I don't, you know, traffic, you know, we can put a cop car out there and slow them down eventually. They'll learn eventually. But, you know where I'm coming from there is, I can see a lot of unaccompanied kids crossing that street on bikes. I don't know about tricycles, but younger kids, you know, 8, 10, 12-year-old kids with bikes crossing that to go to the park.
So with the flashers, I'm hearing Councilmember Carlson speaking of the ones in you referenced back over to Dogwood.
Yes.
We also have the flashing lights that are on Bridge.
Yeah,
Side
just
of-
over the other
Correct.
side, right.
Yes.
That one, I believe, is not solar. We
Yes,
did
I-
look
I-
into the solar option. If you've done one before, I'd be interested to see what
So,
you've used there.
Couple different options for that.
Yeah, I think some kind of flashing light there in addition to the signs. You know, I know the traffic on that road and I know the speeds they run, and I'm real concerned with the kids crossing that street.
Sergeant Kick, would you be interested in coming up, please, and discussing the traffic flow?
Trying to hide behind the sign, I saw you.
I didn't move. I was there first. So, with regard to the traffic out there, it is posted 35-mile speed limit. It is heavily patrolled. We do make several traffic contacts there every week, and we do issue citations there for speeding. One of the issues we've been faced with since Ottawa Sands opened was our parking out there. The current lot does not accommodate the number of guests that want to use that park. It is a spectacular park, as I'm sure you're all aware, and it is getting a great response. And the lot, particularly on the weekends, fills relatively early, and the users of the park are parking on North Shore along the side of the road, which is posted no parking. So at this point, we've been issuing parking citations to those that are parked there. The concern is people pulling out of that lot, their visibility is compromised from the vehicles that are parked there, as well as pedestrians crossing. If there was a crosswalk, even if there is a crosswalk, if there's cars parked there, the concern is that someone's going to get hit. And it also pushes the traffic out of their traveled lane into oncoming traffic to get around those parked cars. So the concern there would be for a head-on collision. So we are actively patrolling that area. Those are the issues that we're seeing currently.
Crosswalk, as far as the flashing lights like we've been discussing, what's your opinion of that? You know, I mean, you're the traffic guy.
Well, I'm a safety kid, so
Right.
I think for me, the safest thing to do would be have everybody be parked on the south side of North Shore Drive. Nobody has to cross the road then, regardless of a crosswalk, parking at Coast Guard Park. If there was significant parking on the south side of North Shore, it would solve the problem. It would eliminate that. It would eliminate the contact point where you have a pedestrian and a vehicle on the road at the same time. So I don't know if that's possible. If that parking can be expanded, or the gate can be moved further to the south to allow more parking. Typically, there's 3 or 4 cars that are getting cited at a time. Usually, if you get one, you'll get a bunch. If nobody's parked there, people will seek alternate parking, whether they go to North Beach Park and walk back, or go to Coast Guard Park and walk to the west. So that was just a suggestion that I mean, if we could eliminate pedestrians on the roadway and cars at the same time, that's a win.
At some point, the parking area that's existing now is gonna get expanded. We know that, you know. Exactly, so that's not my concern at this point. You're gonna police the parking on North Shore Road, so that's not my concern. My concern is that crosswalk. Yes or no? Should we have a flashing light there? I mean, you're the safety guy.
Well, any warning that you can give a motorist that there's potentially a pedestrian road is a good thing. I would say particularly if there's people crossing that in the early morning or evening hours, the light's getting low. You know, sun's setting at like 6:30 now, 6 o'clock, 5. So I find myself getting on my steer stand about 5:30 because I can't see anymore. So it's pretty early. With the sun to the west, I mean, there's a serious potential for someone crossing that road in the evening. I think the flashes would probably help.
I don't have a problem with the flashing lights on the side, but I don't think we need an overhead one.
Typically, those overhead lights are reserved for intersections.
Right.
And this really isn't an intersection yet. I think that, from what I'm hearing, at some point, that's going to be, if we open that to camping and fishing and things like that, we'll probably have more of a roadway going in there. But for right now, for a parking lot, I don't think that an overhead flasher is probably necessary yet.
Have set up now will suffice until that park gets more developed, and then the council will revisit that at that time and work with you guys and, you know, get a parking lot in that park. I think that's imperative. People aren't, right now they're going to use Coast Guard Park because it's not developed yet for more parking, but because they don't want to walk, they're going to park on the side of the road, is what I'm hearing.
Right, they don't want to walk to the park to go on their hike.
Yeah. Right, right. So, but if you're patrolling it and you're passing out the citations, that'll get around. It's a small town. They're like, oh, don't park on the road.
Yeah, the orders are that any part of the vehicle is over top of the fog line, that they're going to be towed. We have not towed one yet, but that is the orders that I've given to the guys that patrol this area. So if they're in that travel portion of the road at all, they have to go. That cannot wait. If they're all the way over, it's a citation.
I don't know if a sign would help at the land conservatory part of it, where this park is being developed. If you have overflow parking, is at Coast Guard Park.
You would think the signs would help to say no parking, but they park between them.
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
It's frustrating, but.
Mr. Schultz, there is a signage. Isn't there a sign at the park at Ottawa Sands stating where the overflow parking is?
I don't think we did that until we would put a crosswalk in place, but that would be our intent, to add that sign.
They might not know they can park there, that they have permission to park at the Coast Guard Park.
Sure.
Another thought.
Hold on just a minute. Councilman Todd, did you want to say something?
Yeah, a couple of things. One for Craig. Where does our street lighting end? At the top of the hill, going west? By the trailer park?
Coast Guard Park or not?
I'm almost positive there's one right there. Yeah. I was going to say, too, in regard to his issue with people cramming in here, I think if we did have overflow there, we could make it so that there was no parking here close to the road, so people wouldn't be able to overflow there and make the visibility worse. Yeah, we've kind of let people park wherever they can there now, but ideally, no. We just have the 13 spaces in there, and otherwise you go someplace else.
Right, so we possibly have street lighting at that intersection. Okay. I think what we all realize is there's always going to be pedestrians in the road here. as this grows, and even if you have all the parking on your side, there's still going to be people who park at Coast Guard. They're going to want to go over there. So there's always going to be people in the road, and we need to come to terms with that. And I'm with Mike. The more we can do to make that intersection clearly visible, street lights, flashing lights, what have you, the better, because it's about safety. And we have the privilege and the honor of having two parks in such close proximity to each other in our community. We need to make sure that the people that do come out and utilize this are safe. That's my contention. So.
Quick thought. At this point in time, you know, you guys pretty much got a handle on what we want as far as that crosswalk. Should we put a temporary sign in that small parking area? Overflow parking is allowed at Coast Guard Park, is allowed at North Shore Park, to direct them as they pull in. It's full. Hey, we can park here, we can park there, like a temporary sign to kind of direct them.
Yeah, we would do that right away as soon as it was available.
That might alleviate some of the parking on the street.
Right.
If they knew they were allowed to park in Coast Guard Park.
Yep. And then just to follow up on your thing too, unfortunately I think we're always going to have people crossing, because even this trail is becoming very popular. Now there's another attraction on the south side of the road. So just trail traffic, not even people parking on the other side, is going to cause people to cross.
A lot of positive responses from people from all over that have been coming into the area. So there's a motion on the table in support. Anyways, for the traffic control order 2018-2. So is there any further discussion regarding this?
Yes, can we amend?
Hold it just a minute, just a minute, Councilmember
Can we
O'Donnell
amend?
needs to speak.
I like that you changed the location of the cross, and I think it, eventually we got to have something there, and if we can congregate everybody to one point, better than having them cross at multiple points. But I would like to maybe have us enter into an agreement similar to what we have with North Shore Park, with them renting up or using the
We currently have an agreement with Ottawa County Parks for them to use the parking area for the trailhead at North Ottawa Dunes. Right. So you want to designate different parking areas for Ottawa Sands parking?
We already have an agreement in place, don't we? So I don't. We have an agreement.
Coast Guard Park, not North Shore Beach. Are you talking about North Shore Beach?
Yeah.
That's the county park.
Right, that's a county park, but.
Yeah, we actually added some parking there for the trailhead, so yeah, it's for North Ottawa Dunes, but I think a lot of people do hike when North Beach Park is full from there.
Yes. Instead of having a whole new separate agreement.
Sufficient? All right.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I would like to modify this ordinance number 61. Crosswalk shall, I'm not going to read the whole thing. The crosswalk shall advance warning signs placed prior to the intersection. I would like to add with flashers. So we are on the same page, flashers and signs. So do we have to redraft this whole issue?
so this is just a draft right now.
Okay.
So, all right, so there's a motion on the table. Support.
So Kathy made the motion. Is she amending her motion?
Flashers and signs? Is that what he wants?
Right here.
I'm
So
not
it would be with the
understanding.
warning signs to add in with flashers should be in place prior to the intersection.
Sure. With flashers
So Kathy's
up on
moving.
the, yeah.
Second it?
Pat.
You still second that?
So now there's a motion and support. All those in favor stating aye.
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 Those opposed, motion passed. Thank you very much.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All
Thank
three of
you.
Thank you, Mr. Kick.
Okay. Moving down to our next business item, it is 7B, discussion take action if appropriate to approve the city bank account access resolution for depository and investment services with First National Bank. There's a list of our banking institutions that were included in your packet. So we would need a motion and support before further discussion.
So
Yeah.
moved.
Support.
Okay, motion support. Further discussion regarding our investments.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I don't know if I should direct this to Craig or to Debbie.
To staff?
To staff,
Okay.
okay. The reason is, we need another bank. We have, what, 9 now?
You're only insured up to 250,000 in a bank. And right now, I have close to 2 million at Fifth Third. So I need to disperse some out to another bank.
That's all.
Hearing none. All those in favor stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed. 7C, discussion take action if appropriate to approve the Second Amendment to the Emergency Medical Services Agreement and to authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the necessary documents. So there is a revised copy on the table in front of us tonight. So we'll need a motion support.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion, we approve this.
Okay,
I'll support.
motion support. Any further discussion? And at this point, I'd like to have Mayor Pro Tem O'Donnell discuss or share out with the group.
Okay, 2 years ago, the city of Grand Haven terminated, or had a notice of termination of the contract, which effectively ended December 31st of last year. Noach also put in their notice of a termination of the contract agreement. The First Amendment was taken up and approved last year for a 1-year extension, and they were looking at, they wanted a year to see how things would work out with that First Amendment. We have met recently and with some very minor adjustments. The advisory board has approved the Second Amendment and is asking that the city approve a additional 4 years. So this would end, the contract would end in 2021, I believe?
Yes.
Okay. There it is. Yep. I have no major issues with this contract. Move forward with this.
Okay. Any other further discussion regarding this?
Quick question. I don't know if to direct this to Tim. The other municipalities have voted on this and agreed to it? Or the board has recommended to all municipalities?
This has been recommended to all the participating municipalities: Crockery, Robinson, Grand Haven Township, Grand Haven City, Spring Lake, and the fire chiefs of all of Spring Lake and Grand Haven.
But The other question I have is they've all agreed to it or voted on it. Does it have to be unanimous vote of all the municipalities for this to pass?
So there's a committee that oversees the ambulance agreement with the hospital. And so the committee has been meeting, and there's a representative from each community on that committee. They all got together, and this is what the draft document that they put together that they're recommending to their municipality to approve.
All municipalities have to approve it for it to go into effect?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all I needed.
Any further discussions?
I have a quick question. The ambulance that's called out. Assume that you just go to North Ottawa, or because of Ferrysburg, some of us use Mercy Health.
No, this would not affect any of the care or patient rights. When an ambulance is called, whether it's NOCH or ProMed or AMR, you as a patient have the right to direct where you go. The only time that is overridden is if it is a immediate life-threatening situation, cardiac arrest, something that they would have to take care of.
None. All those in favor stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed. Moving down to 7D, discussion take action if appropriate to schedule a work session as a regular agenda item on November 19. And on the suggestion was to have boards and commissions, which we've carried that. So we would need a motion and support before discussing what would go on it or to have one.
Your Honor?
Discussion take action if appropriate to schedule a work session as a regular agenda item on November 19, or not have a work session at all.
I'd make a motion to not have a work session on November 19th.
Okay. So there's a motion and support. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving down to public comments. Any further additional comments? No? Hearing none. Reports. City manager.
No report?
Okay. Councilmember, please.
I did go to the Ottawa Sands Park on Saturday, and it was quite busy over there, but I didn't park on the road. I parked in the parking lot. No, I actually parked, in the parking lot, because there was, no, didn't ride my bike. What's better? And then, we're still accepting donations, pledges, sponsors for the Fire Barn Park playground equipment. I think we've raised quite a bit of money so far, but we could still use more. That's it.
That's till December 31st, right?
Yep. December 31st.
No report.
It's been reported to me that the NFP has some forts being built in it, and the concern is deer blinds. So just letting staff know. Somebody alerted me and said, hey, there's something going on out there. So we need to enforce that because they're not supposed to be hunting on that property. And then I just want to congratulate Craig on 23 years of service tomorrow, I believe it is. He doesn't know. He's looking at me like a deer in the headlights.
That's a blank look.
And Debbie has served the city for 21 years in a week or two, I believe it is. So congratulations.
Man.
I know, it's a long time.
Yes, it is.
End of report.
Okay.
Jeez.
Harbor Transit, we're still searching for a new director. We apparently have interviews scheduled. Nothing to report as of yet. In the report, well, the other thing I was gonna bring up is Board of Light and Power apparently is going through we're shutting down the coal plant, and apparently they are having community forums to get public input. Tomorrow, 6 to 8 at Trillium is available for public input. If anybody has anything to put in there, I wanted to bring that up because as I understand it, we're not going to generate power anymore. We're just going to buy power from other places, and basically they're going to be a commodities broker. So any input on that would be to your benefit as citizens. That's it.
Councilmember 12.
No report.
Councilmember Carlson.
I wasn't aware that the Board of Light and Power had actually made a decision not to build another power plant yet.
That's what these hearings are about. My understanding is the engineer has recommended that they have made the decision.
Purchase.
They have made the decision that they're gonna shut down the coal plant.
So there's
basically, that's shut down now.
Meeting tomorrow night at Trillium.
At Trillium.
And I know there's one Wednesday at Grand Haven City Hall.
City Hall. If you're a business, November 6th.
You got it right there.
I do. Would you like a copy of it?
No, I got it at home, thank you.
Okay. But they're
I yield my time to.
They're asking for feedback from the public as far as the recommendations of thing. Originally they were going to put a coal plant or a gas-fired plant in to generate electricity and sell electricity to the web or the net or whatever they call it, the grid. Now we're going to be buying it from the grid, which in my mind is a risky thing. You know, we have storms and stuff, and now we're buying power from Traverse City or who knows where. At least when it's locally generated, they have quick response to, get us back online. I see nothing but problems with it myself, but you have an opportunity to voice your concern.
Councilmember Carlson, anything more?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll take the floor back for a moment. Has anyone else have any concerns about what we shot down for the work session regarding board and commission policy in regards to the number of people required for quorums for our different boards and commissions? The reason I'm asking is I'm on Kitchell Lindquist Dunes Preserve, and we've had either 2 or 3 meetings in a row that we have not had a quorum. So we've had meetings canceled. And this is right at the heights where we've spent the money to have an intern work for us all summer. And we had a number of different colleges out there doing studies. And we as a board haven't even met at the height of the season.
So would you like to have this on the work session in December?
Well, I'm just asking, are other boards getting canceled out constantly?
Beautification meets.
Okay.
But the rec commission.
Zoning hasn't?
Yeah,
Planning Commission did.
But not recently. Not recently. Yeah. I think it's something we need to address, but not necessarily at the next meeting. I think maybe.
December. No, wait, it would be on the December work session.
Right.
Not November.
I won't be here the 19th. That's the day of my surgery.
So Councilmember Carlson still has it.
I'm done. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, because others have capitalized on his time, so.
We share.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, I've just heard from so many residents, but then also people from around the area, greater West Michigan area, about the Ottawa Sands, that it's such a wonderful park. Beautiful place to hike, to walk, to take photos. In fact, I was at, took my mother to church yesterday, and there was a woman in the congregation that even had come out and hiked and just thoroughly enjoys that. Then also a special thank you to the Beautification Committee for the very successful Monster Bash. I had the opportunity of judging. That is really tricky.
It's hard.
Councilmember DeWitt assisted me, as well as Sharon from the committee. Because there's a lot of adorable little kids out there. So anyways, but it appears everybody was having fun, and it was a great time, and it was well attended. So with that being said, I'm done. So moved.
Party's over, baby.
Back lady singing.